Hey everyone, welcome. It's a good night to struggle through some code. So I tried to finish up this project yet Monday when I was like, it's just supposed to be a boilerplate and not anything super intense, but I've just been having a hard time getting everything like set up right, and that's because I don't know why I did it this way, but I decided to just copy a project that was already running and then try to like reformat it, refactor it down into something that's a little bit more repeatable, more manageable. So I've learned a lot in the process, but at the same time, like, I could have saved myself a lot of grief if I just, kept the concept of just starting from scratch. But we're getting there. I'm trying to get adjusted here. But we're almost done with this one. What we're going to do today is I want to keep trying to get this to build without any errors. That way it can be something that's deployed. But right now, whenever I run npm build, as soon as that loads up, so it's doing its optimization, production build, then it's compiled successfully, and then it goes into the SSG part of things. Still, so far so good. It's gonna generate static pages for a couple of them, and then it's gonna fail. And so it fails typically on the about page, which is what I've been seeing, and for some reason it's failing on internalLink. But if we go to our pages, if I load up first npm dev and then reload and let this do its thing. So if we go to the about page, there's nothing in here that is using the internalLink, but I guess the problem is coming from, this is the hero. If I go to content, there's going to be these portfolio objects, and none of them have buttons anyway. So if I just take the include button out, I'm wondering if that's going to help. And this is something that I could have done on the last stream, but it was getting late and I didn't want to mess with it anymore. So let's see if this helps at all. We're going to try npm build again, and then hopefully this works. But also, I saw Payload has released 3.27. I need to do an upgrade guide for that. It's been a while since I have. I think this project's still on 3.18. So if I go to package.json, yeah, 3.18. Oh, so it looks like this did just fine. So it's built. We can see we have static and then a couple of dynamic pages. It looks like the dynamic pages are our search and then our API. And hey, there's some GraphQL stuff in here. Let's disable GraphQL because I don't use it. So I'm going to go to payload config. I think it's in admin. I may have to look up where it is again, but I'm pretty sure it's in admin where I may already have GraphQL somewhere. So it may not be admin. GraphQL, I can just do disable true. Not that that's going to do anything right now because I'm not going to rebuild, but now if I do next start, and that's not even what I wanted to do, but it worked. So we can do localhost 3000 and we can see everything is statically generated, but don't have any blog content apparently. So we'll look at that in just a second. But then if I go to search works, and then I can do home. Yeah, so we're going to come back to this where I need to link some stuff differently. Apparently I also have our console log. So a couple things need to happen. First, let's go to our admin login and see what happened with our posts. They're all there. We'll take a look at that in just a second. Let's fix one thing at a time. Let's go to our whatchamacall, our search. So we need to go to our search page because I still have a console log in here. So we're going to comment that out and let that refresh. And so now I won't get a console log every time I go to search. So now localhost search. Oh, it's going to do a console log because I'm on a built thing. All right, so now we're not seeing any of our blogs on this page. And let's see why. So first, let's get a soft wrap and then get the size of the screen a little bit bigger. Oh. If you're joining fields when you update collection from the admin UI. I can't say that I've had an issue, but maybe I can walk through one of my join fields and see. I assume that's what you mean. Like, do you mean a join field? And I'm going to keep going with this while I wait for you to reply to that. So posts where blog query. Oh, okay, so this status needs to change to that status. And then, yeah, I forgot that status changed. And then this needs to be lowercase draft. And so let's make sure that's all of the drafts is indeed. All right, so now let's rebuild again and we'll start. And then I want to see if this fixes our blog issue, and then we can start working on our search design here. And of course, it's going to take like 2 minutes to build. And we keep waiting. All right, so there it is. Let's do PM start. Okay, I'll walk through a join field here in a minute. So let's do PM start. If I refresh this, no more console log, we go to blog. We still don't get anything here. So that's interesting. Yeah, so every single other page works. So let's see what happens if we go, so it's blog, and then if I do future blog, so it's also there. So there's something going on with this page, and I wonder, so we have blog. Let's actually check the feed too. Yeah, so that's fine. So our RSS feed is working, and we have blog, which is just rendering statically. So that's probably where the problem is. So we don't need that update anymore. Payload. Don't need any of this. All right, so interesting. You don't need any of this either. So it's blog page. And that's where we are. Well, if we go back to blog, we're not going to get anything because it's a static page and it's just rendering without anything. All right, so let's just do pnpm dev, make sure this works, and then I'll go over a join field real quick. All right, so we'll have to look into that here in a second. So we've built, we checked for errors. All we had to do was remove the buttons. So first we can do blog page dynamic rendering, and it may be something where I'll have to think about this as we go, because I think it's how I'm querying the blog, because I'm just doing a find, which should run though. Status does not equal draft, less than today, not equals, yeah, so all of that's right. So I think I need to run our cache here. And that shouldn't be a problem. All right, so a join field. So we're going to go to our config real quick. And I think we can just do, I think I have an authors one. So if I go to my collections, we'll go to posts. And so our join field is going to look like, it might be down more. Why don't I just search for it? Join. Authors. Oh, on the authors page it should actually be. So if we go to our users, what version of Payload are you on? Because there is a version where the join fields don't work very well. So that would be the first thing I'd check. And then if anything is not at the top level, you need to make sure that you use dot notation to get the object within. So in our post, so this is saying we're naming our join field post by user. It's a type join. Those are the obvious ones. And we're joining on the authors. So we're joining in the collection post on authors, which is under, okay, so you should be fine with join fields. So we need to find Command F, content. So here, then we have our author's name, which is what we're looking for. So this is content.authors, which is the on portion of this, and the collection posts. And so now if I were to go to my admin, and then I go to our, not our posts, I'm sorry. We're going to go to our users. We can see that we have our posts by user field here, and everything is looking like it's populating correctly. So if that's not the issue with your join field, I would either suggest making a like an issue on GitHub or asking the community support in the Discord. Sometimes you'll have to you want to use the community help, and then sometimes you might have to call it out in the general chat. But as long as it's in the community help, you can typically find answers to your problems. And if there is no answer, then we open an issue and hopefully it gets resolved. So hopefully that helped walking through that. I'm not sure if this is any different than what you're doing now, but this is working for me. You can see it here. I don't have to remove it. It's fine. I can see it in my API as well, post by user, even like full depth and everything. So how this is set up works for me. So hopefully it works for you. Okay, so now let's take a look at our query blog, because I think this is what I need to add to our blog page here. So we'll do query posts just to make this a little bit more clear what it is. And then we'll have a where statement, which I want to change this to where. And I think limit can just be there too. Sort by date, yes, that's fine. Where does not exist on type. Oh, I have to add it there. Okay. So all that should look good. Perfect. Okay. So let's see if this works. It's going to work obviously with the development server, but I'm going to have to try it in the not to development server. All right, so we need to sort. Perfect. Okay, so sort depth of right axis collection posts. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to query posts. So we'll just change this down here. We'll do change nothing else but await query posts. And then we'll need to do blog query, a limit of 12, and negative date. We're probably gonna have to, let's first get rid of that. All right. So let's do an object instead. We'll do where limit sort. So that should fix that up. And then we can do the same thing up here where we'll do our featured query. So, and this is returning all results. So good. Oh, let's move that over. All right, so we have const get featured, and we'll set this to be await query posts where featured query limit 1, and then sort. I don't think I need to change this. And then date should always be less than or equal to, well, that's in the query, so that's fine. All right, so then we should be able to get rid of that, move this one down, name this correctly. And then if I save, that shouldn't break anything here, but we'll make sure. Yep, everything is working. Let's go ahead and try our pnpm build. See what happens there. And then what I'm going to do also is I'm going to use the, I think it's search params, I think is what I'm going to be using for this, whatever. Yeah, I think it's whatever the, it'll be the UTM params, essentially everything that comes after the question mark. And I'm going to do pagination that way and just query based on what page is read up here and have like a left and right arrow page for our recent posts. So I'm going to do that here in a second. But first, we've got our blog, which is still rendering statically. So let's see what happens when we do pnpm start. Weird. All of our blogs go away. Let's do... All right, so it wasn't that, but maybe I can do... Oh. Let's try putting this in here. Well, I don't even need it anymore because I need to change it in here as well. Metadata. I agree. It takes a little bit of time to get used to it. It does have a lot of potential, but there's a lot of growth. So, and it's happening very quickly. So, it's definitely not for everyone. It's not for people who have not had a lot of development experience. So I will say that it's not like you can't just spin up WordPress and then have it ready. Like you need to have a little bit of knowledge about what you're doing in this one. But I think it's second to none, honestly. So we're going to page query. So I just need to do const page is equal to await query posts where page query sort doesn't matter, limit 1, So sort's going to come through regardless. All right, so we can get rid of all of this. Yeah, I want to, I plan on trying to make a lexical feature, but what I'm going to have to do is reverse engineer it from someone else because I think I will get lost. That's like the deep end of JavaScript for me, trying to learn how to actually program, honestly. Like telling the computer what to do is what it feels like I'm doing. But I think it'll be good. All right, so this should still have metadata once this spins up again. It doesn't, but does that mean if I go to our API, we go to our pages, I wonder if what's happening actually is instead of this being rendered as a separate page, but industries is fine. That's okay. So I need to take a look at how our pages collection is being rendered as well. But see, I see SEO here just fine. Okay. But then if, again, industries is still fine. I want each of those categories to have different fields. And fields for specific post categories. I have 2 categories I'm using for my post. So are you thinking something like major, like you have topics and categories, or you have multiple categories that can apply to a single post? So why am I not seeing any? If I go to small businesses, oh, sorry, industries. Okay, so I don't think this should have. Oh, all right. Working through a few things here. So that has meta. This has metadata. So if let's take a look over on our pages slug. Well, no, it's in the blog. So, well, don't get ahead of myself here. So we're going to look here. We have collection pages. It's going to filter. Let's see here. Pages.docs filter doc return doc does not equal home. So that's not returning the home page. So I need to use this filter to also take out anything that is not. So this return, I don't think it needs to actually be here. Oh wait, no. So if it does not equal home, and then I should be able to do another filter, and then do, get out of here. So do filter and then do doc, and then return doc slug does not equal. Let's do it this way. So let's do you're probably explaining it just fine. It's just hard to translate between text to what you're actually trying to say, I think. I've got a category for work and services, and I want unique field for each post category. Here, let me think on that for a minute here. Slug. Because what I think is happening here, and I need to remember how I did this, and I might just need to look at a different project real quick. What I'm trying to do is filter out the blog and the industries page, since I have it as a page, but it's also as the beginning of a route. So I need to see what I can do. Filter. Oops. Either work or services is pretty much acting custom. Oh, okay. Each one has a category applied to work or services. And you want work and services to be completely different fields, because if that's the case, you'll want two different kind of category collections, or you'll want to, because if you have work and then it has like title, slug, description, yada yada, field specific to work, that's fine having a category collection and then having one for work. And then as long as the fields are the same for your services, then it would be the same. As in, like, you could just do, you create a document for work and then have title, slug, and all that. And then you have another document within your categories, which is services, and then it has its own title and slug. So I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but that's what I'm interpreting. So let's take a look here, because I don't want to do... Let's find... Dang, man. Okay, generate static params. I'm just in a different file right now trying to find how I did this before. Oh, okay. I understand what I did. So this is where our not in query thing, where query, comes in handy, because we want to do where slug is not in an array. So I'll do, an array, and we can do, we have blog that we don't need, and we have industries that we don't need. And so hopefully now what I think was happening is that this generate static params was taking precedence over what I had in blog and industries. I don't think I have anything in industries, so that should be okay. But we can actually take a look and see, do I have an industries? I don't even have an industries index page. So that shouldn't have worked in general. So what I'm thinking is, yes, this generate static params took precedence, and I need it to not, and let blog and industries do its own thing. So we'll take a look, see if that works. All right. Blog still generated statically, but let's still take a look. PNPM start. And then we can refresh blog. Okay, so I think that worked. Let's just double check real quick. If I go to industries, do I get not found? I don't get not found, but I don't get nothing either. All right, so all of that's looking good. We have our blog again. And so, great. And since we're on this, I didn't think we'd be on it this long. We're going to try and do some pagination or pagination, whatever. Yeah, I think that is the next step here. I need to figure out how people, well, first of all, how people do this full time is beyond me, but my chat is over here, which is why I keep looking over here to make sure I'm not missing anything. My like my coding screen and like what you're seeing is right, you can't see, right here on that side. And so all the way over here is my chat. You probably couldn't hear any of that, but it's craning my neck. And so I need to figure this, like, a better situation out here. Anyway, so let's go back to PNPM dev, and we're going to do an artificially short blog page here, where we're going to limit our blog posts to 2 instead of 12. And so when we refresh, we should only see these top 2 posts here. Excuse me. All right, so that's great. Now, what we need to do, I believe, this is going to be a NextJS thing, so I need to make sure that search params is what I'm looking for. Log search params, and then I can do something like, oh, it's async. Okay, so I need to await the search params. And this should return nothing. Yep. And then if I do something like, we'll do p for page equals page 2. Perfect. So we see our object down here for p2. So we'll use this. This is going to be const page number, and that's going to equal search params or 1, which it needs to be a string. So how do you recommend for self-hosting NextJS and Payload and SQLite? I have seen some rumblings about Cloudflare pages not being quite ready yet. So, though it should be, with, I guess, OpenNext is what it's called. So I take the easy route and I just put it on Vercel for now. I have been looking into not Payload. That's what we're talking about right now. Railway has just released, they're in their launch week right now. If you haven't looked at railway.com in a little while, they're making some impressive changes, and I'm actually excited to try and put some of my websites on them. So I used them a while ago for Payload version 2, and then it just became too much of a hassle for version 3. But with how Railway has come along, it's very good. So they've released a few things. The things that I'm most excited about is their Pro version is, so it's still a minimum of $20 a month, but the first $20 of usage is covered as long as you hit the spend minimum. And with that, you don't need to pay for any kind of seats afterwards. So all Pro seats are covered as long as you hit the spend minimum. So that shouldn't be an issue for, I think, most projects. So yeah, check out Railway if you haven't in a while. I don't know how they do with SQLite, but it shouldn't be a big deal. I assume that you're going to be using hosted versions of SQLite, or a hosted version of it, rather than like, I don't actually know what the other option would be. Or if you want to use a platform's SQLite. I'm sure Railway has one. Vercel has their blob storage, but all that to say, currently I'm using Vercel. I'm excited to check out Railway again. All right, anyway, so page number. And so what we're going to do is in our query posts, we're going to need to pass in our page. So we'll do page, and originally this is going to be set to 1. But if not, it's going to be number page, which I don't think I can do it like that. So page, oops. And so I'm passing in number here to make sure that anything that comes through as a string will be changed into a number, which means then we need our page type to be string, because I think that's going to be how it's coming in from our search params here. So if it is, it needs to be a string. So let's just put 1 there, and then I'll convert it to a number there. And so page, is missing in type. I can do question mark there. I thought, okay, it just took a second for it to catch back up. Great, so now what we want to do is in our blog query, not even, in our query blogs, we're going to use page, which is going to be page number. So we'll save this. We'll go back to regular blog. And then if we do, so we need to actually do page number dot P. So we can actually get the real object. All right, so we have blog. Should be just P1, and we do P2. We see new posts come in. That means then at the bottom of our card row here, so that's going to be recent posts, we're going to put in a div here where we'll do 2 links. The first will be link previous page, sure. And then we can do, next page, and then it's going to be blog, and then we can do question mark, and then we should do number, page number, -1, and then otherwise for the next page should be +1. So if I hit save here, we can see down here at the bottom, not a number, not a number. All right, so that's a problem. So I think I don't need this, maybe. I thought I did, but maybe I don't. Oh, page number. Why don't I need to change this to be, so let's see if that works. All right. I broke something else, I'm sure of it. This one. All right, so now it's combining a string. Oh, thank you. I have not checked out Directus. When I was shopping around for CMSs, I checked out a few. Contentful was one of them. Oh, thank you. I didn't see that slash. That's what you're trying to say. So I didn't check out Directus. I was working with a Python and Flask project for a little while, and I wanted to try Strappy, Strappy, whatever. I liked that one, but I don't. So I do code in Python Flask sometimes. So I do like that, but I think I would be able to figure out a way to get Payload to work with that. It wouldn't be quite as smooth as it is with NextJS, but sorry, this needs to be P. This needs to be +1. It's hard to talk and code at the same time. Let me do -1. So no, I haven't checked out Directus. And yeah, Strappy was fine. It's just as soon as you work with Payload, honestly, it's nothing else compares. Contentful I tried, and it's really easy to set up Contentful. So there's a reason why they're very popular. Like I had the easiest time setting up Contentful, but as soon as you hit those minimums, you start racking up the bills, and that's it just made me nervous. I don't think I would ever get that high in the bills, but it just was not worth it to me. Okay, so our page is working here, so we need to set a couple checks though, because if we go all the way back, we're at page 2, and we can do page 1, and then now the next is page 0, and it's going to keep going to -1 and beyond. Yeah, I have been thinking about starting. So I love doing Payload. I love doing the tutorial videos that I'm doing. Obviously, I enjoy doing the live coding with it, and I'll continue doing that. But I've been wanting to break into other tutorials and things like that. So I just released a Tailwind video yesterday, and I have a couple more coming out. But getting into these other CMSs to see how they all compare, and then be able to have more informed discussions like this would be really helpful. Again, I think I said it at the top. I was talking with Dysfunctionario. Disfunccionario, about how there's a lot of growth that can happen with Payload, which excites me the most because it's clearly being developed very quickly. I think they put out 2 releases today, so there's a lot of good growth that's happening there. But it's not for everybody. You need to have experience. So I'm looking into other experience or other ways to use technology. All right, so now we want to check here if our number page, do I need, because it's using number page, that's fine. I keep having to type in number, so I'm wondering if I need to change this to be a number instead. No, I can't do that. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of the videos that I'm working on now are the custom component part of Payload, and I'm so excited for those videos to come out. I've learned so much from doing them. Okay, so yes, we're going to check here number. So we're going to have to do a couple things, but first we'll do number, page number equals 0 question mark. We'll just leave it blank for now. But if not, it can have that. And then we need to see yeah, I would be lost without Payload type support, honestly. I'm not great at TypeScript. I'm sure those who have been watching me for a while know that. But it keeps me from having to troubleshoot in build all the time, because the first Payload project I built, I didn't use all of the, like, I was using like JavaScript files, and every time that I would try to build, it would be a crapshoot. So sometimes it would build perfectly, and then other times like one thing would fail. But I've never had that issue as soon as I started working with the types that come from Payload. All right, so featured query, page number. Oh, we need to see what our total pages are. So if we look at our all, we can do const all total pages equals all total pages, which, let's see if this works like I want it to. And so now, let's just log total pages real quick. All right, so we have 3 total pages, which makes sense. So then, so page number equals, equals 1, so that should make previous page go away. Yep, perfect. And then, and we're gonna make this look a bunch nicer. So we'll do number, page number equals, and then like, so, sorry, hold on. The one thing that I really love about Payload, so I tried with, I think it was Keystone. Keystone is a CMS that's also pretty popular for at least some Next.js projects. I think if it's still popular. First of all, they wanted you to use GraphQL, and I hate GraphQL. I just disabled it in this project. If you didn't see that, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I'll get off my soapbox there, but trying to figure out how to do pagination in a CMS that doesn't do it for you is insane. So Payload, like, the one thing that I loved the most about it is that it would tell me what the total docs, and it would tell me total pages, and it would tell me current page. It makes all of this so much easier instead of me having to edit my own API. So I love that. Anyway, so if page number equals total pages, if we go then to page 3, we should see next page go away. Perfect. So previous page, and then I can't go back any further. And I'm fine with it being, or actually, I don't have to be fine with that. So if it's single page there, first, All right, let's do a couple things here. So I don't want, so if I do this, I want number, page number equals 2, question mark. I want so I just want this to be nothing, a blank string. But if it's not, I want it to be this. And I don't think I need that anymore. I can just put this here. It's 2. Oh, and then I need to do that. And this was needed. All right, so I need to break this up a little bit here because I'm having a hard time seeing. All right. Oh, it worked. Just needed to catch up. Perfect. So if I hit next page now, I can see previous page just says blog, so it takes me back to the blog page, which is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to see. All right, we can get rid of this console log, I think. Whoops. Console log, total pages. All right, so let's make this look better. I was looking at Lucid icons as like tech that I wanted to try out. I'm using it in one of my tutorials, so I thought I would give it a shot today because it's not very difficult to do. Let's make sure that there's no like next. No, it should just be React, right? So let's do PM. Oop. And yes, I could just pull in the SVGs, but I want to try this like in its full glory. So if I go to icons, I want a left arrow. Just make this classic. Let's do this one. We'll copy the JSX. And instead of previous page, we'll do this. And then I assume move right is going to be the other one. Import move left. Move right. Instead of next page, you can do move right. All right, so let's see what this looks like. I gotta start up my server again. I don't imagine that this is gonna give me a bunch of errors, but I have not used Lucid icons before, so we'll see. All right, so there's our right arrow, and then we have our left and our right arrow. Now we can make this even prettier. So we'll do class name, classes. This is gonna be arrow container. I am not going to put Tailwind in this project yet, though I have been a little bit more excited about using it after I started doing some tutorials on it. So class name, for these, what needs to happen is we just need to be able to disable one. I don't know what color these are, so we'll probably want to change the color too. But that one's going to be easy. So why don't we do this first? We'll do arrow container. Is there an error in here? No. And then let's go to, we're in blog page. And come down here and we'll do arrows. We're going to do our arrow container. Do our display flex. We'll align item center, yes. Justify content center, sure. And we'll do a gap of maybe like 2 rem just to give it a little bit of extra distance here. So that should flatten that out. That looks great. A little small. We'll fix that here in a second. Because I can do something like height of, okay, what's 50 pixels look like here? width. Okay, I like that. So we'll do height and width of 50 pixels, and we will define it in these, because what I would do is put these into their own component anyway. So if I wanted to change that, I could. All right, perfect. And so now it should be, can't I do current color? Current color is apparently black. So we'll change the fill here in a second. So we'll do, for now, we can just do a class name and do classes arrow. Let's do active arrow. And then so we can do active arrow and set it to be fill of our dark primary, and we won't do any, oh, so it needs to be stroke actually, so this seems to be all a stroke. There we go. So now it's that dark green that I like so much. And then, so if I do that, that goes away, and then I can open this back up. Perfect. It's interesting that they're not quite centered with the middle of this here. But that might be just a sizing thing. It doesn't look like it's a padding thing or a margin thing. That's okay. All right, so we'll do then inactive arrow, which will be our stroke of dark primary 70. And then we can do, it should be pointer events none. And then we can test this out real quick by just doing one as inactive arrow. And so nothing, Oh, that needs to happen on the link. So I think this may affect our fill on this one too. It will, yep. But the no pointer events does work. So what we can do is inactive arrow SVG, active arrow SVG, because that's the only thing that we're, not quite. So this needs to be on the SVG, but pointer events does not. So there we go. And then active arrow SVG should be working, but maybe not. So let's just set SVG. There we go. Oh, I need to move it. Please hold. So I think this works. I'd rather not nest in SCSS if I don't have to. But if we move this to then be on the link here, I'm going to make this neater again. So we have our first link, which then opens up to that. Just to make this easier to see. Perfect. 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 Then we have our total pages. Otherwise that. Okay. Link. Perfect. All right. So now our link has active arrow, our move right does not. It'll come back, I hope. All right, there we go. All right, so we have our dark green there. Both arrow, oh, that's right. I need this to be conditional now. So if So I guess we just do this again. Since I'm going to have to reuse, no, I only have to reuse this once, and that's fine. All right, so if our page number equals 1, we need our left arrow to be inactive, otherwise it can be active. And then down here, we can do if page number equals total pages. This can be an inactive arrow, otherwise it can be active. There we go. Great, so now we can go back, no problem, go back. Oh, so we also can get rid of this. So we don't need that check anymore, which means that can go away. So these links always are going to be here, and that's going to be, for me, I like that as UX. It doesn't shift the screen a whole bunch depending on state, or I guess not state, but logical state, whatever. But now you can see this is transparent, and I don't actually like it transparent. So I wonder if I can just use my I don't like it because there's the overlap, but that might just be me. So we do page 2, page 3, and we're good. If we want to add even a bit more, we could do in between another div where we'll do a span, and in this span we'll have 1p, then of p. So we can do number, page number of total pages. 3 of 3. So that adds a little bit more information to the user. So now we'll do class name number container, then do our number container display flex, and then do a gap of 1 rem. Any second now. Oh, so I don't think I need the span. So let's just do span of, and then I also don't need all that. I made that a little too complicated. So now we have page 1 of 3, which means I don't actually need our display flex or our gap. We'll see what that looks like. It should bring things a little bit closer. Nope, didn't need any of that at all. So I like this as it is. We can get rid of the class name. And now we can see we have 3 pages. We're on currently page 1 of 3. We go next, we've got page 2 of 3, and then we have 3 of 3. And then all of these are not changing. And I just realized that. So that's because I broke something, I'm sure of it. So we have our page number P, and I don't need the P anymore. So now if I refresh, we should be good there. Now we're getting everything there. Great. So we have some amount of posts now, 2, 4, 5. So if we did something like a limit of 6, we're not going to have any pages, but it just says 1 of 1. And so if that's true, I don't need any of this section. So I can do total pages equals 1. Oh, and then I can just do, it absolutely has to. Then that should, oh, it does not equal. Let's do greater than 1. There we go. Doesn't exist anymore. But then if I change our limit back down to, we can just say 1. We have 1 of 5. Perfect. And then I should be able to get all the way up to page 5 without issue. Great. All right, so that's pagination, pagination, whatever. All right. So our search plugin, this is the fun stuff here. So we've got our search. And if we look at this, like our home page, our contact page, our industries page, which honestly shouldn't even be in search, but that's fine. So let's go to our search page. Come back to that in a second. So we in here then can just say, instead of, well, with or, we can also add our slug not in industries, but I can keep blog actually, if blog is even in here. But industries can come out. Oh, shoot. So what is, if we look, not at our Lucid icons, if we look at our search collection, search results, there it is. All right, so we have slug here, doc URL, no doc URL, and then there's doc, which I think is going to load the whole document. So slug, not in industries. Okay, so it still shows up, but it doesn't show up in the search. So that means that the total documents is still showing it for some reason. So I think that's going to be in this search component. Or it won't be. Label input search. So this is the actual search component here. Okay. So we got our search page, which is, oh, the slug is down there. So it's asking where slug or any of that. So I should be able to do, I don't think I can do slug again. Here, I will be right back. Quick break. Just got to use the bathroom real quick. I'm back. Been trying to drink more water and I'm paying for it now. Of course, when you try to sit for 2 hours at a time, it doesn't quite work out right. All right, so we've got our slug-like query. And so our query, though, where's our query coming from? K query, or Q query. So it's just the initial showing here, post doc. That's giving me the issues. Because I don't think I can do, or maybe I can. Not equals just industries. I really can't get it to go away. Interesting. All right, well, I'm not going to worry too much about it for right now. That's something that we can come back to. But let's set this to be not in, and then have it be an array. Oh, I think I might have to do this on, oof. I think on each of these, not the description. All right, whatever. All right, so that's not important anyway. What is important is trying to get our slugs to be right. So we have here, all of these are blogs, but if I go to them, it's going to be a 404. So I need to find a way to have this tell me what collection it's in. I can see doc. So, well, let's go to our search results, and then I can look at, like, this is a blog post. We have a slug, has no categories, but I do get the doc. Okay, so let's log real quick all of our posts and see what we get in return. So we get our meta, get our ID. Do I get a document? I don't think I do. Ah, here we go. This is exactly what I want. Relation to posts. So we just need to get our doc relation to true. Okay, or just our whole doc. And we just won't get any depth, which is fine. Because all I need is the relation to. So we've got our doc, which should give us relation to. Perfect. So I come down here, and we do our link. So here, let's make this easier on ourselves here. So we can do our const collection, and then this will be our post. Nope, not going to quite work like that because I need a way to loop it. So that's just going to have to be done down here. So let's open this up big and wide here so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, I don't need any of that stuff. So here's where things start to get interesting. So we'll have our link with class name. href is where I'm really going to be spending my time. So here, we're first then going to check post.doc.relation to does not equal, well, let's just do if equals pages. Because if that's true, then nothing needs to happen. Otherwise, post.doc.relation2 did my turn area wrong. If that's equal to our posts, then we need to return our slash blog, well, just blog slash. Otherwise, so now let's break this down a little bit. So do our href, next ternary here. Then I need to check post.doc.relation2 is equal to industries. All right. I don't know what just changed, but we'll figure that out here in a second. We can do industries. Otherwise, it can be blank. So that's a lot of ternaries there. Property relation 2 does not exist on type, never. So if I go back then to our search results, let's go ahead and get rid of our console log here. And then I can go to our industry is not in here. They are not in here. So that's why that doesn't exist. So that means we need to go over to our search plugin, config, cancel, and then we need to add, man, collections. Oh, that's the live preview. Search plugin, we need to add in our industries. There we go. And then we're going to come over here and re-index all collections, confirm. Now our industry should be in here. Then if I go over to our search, that should go away. Perfect. So now let's save that and refresh. We do have blog. We can see down at the bottom there that our blog collection is there. If I click on this, it should open up. There it is. Just took a second, but it's there. If we go back to search, I don't see 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a total of 10. Okay, so why not do a page? So we can do p string. We'll see if this actually works like I want it to. Where does this query come from? Okay, so then we have limit of 12. So why do we only have 10 here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh. If we do a limit of 8. We only see 6. What is happening? All hunched up. All right, so, but if we do home, I don't know why the initial is always 2 less. So if I do 10, it's going to come up with 8. So let's go back to our search. Interesting. Okay, so this is not working like I thought it would, but regardless, we see like the initial values. We'll leave it as this. And we won't add any pages here. But what we can do is, I don't know if the image makes sense, so I'm going to remove that. Because for me, like, all of this is just meta image stuff, and I don't see any reason to do anything else with it. But now we can just do our div and do like a border with 1 solid variable dark primary. Do something like padding 1 rem, radius. Oh, I can do, no, I'll just do border radius of 1 rem. Not even, so 0.5 probably, just enough to give it some curve. Yeah, that looks good. And then we can just align item center, justify content center. And then maybe text align center. And so that looks okay. And then we can do future blog. Then we click on that and it brings us there. So now if we do our search, let's work on our search bar here for a minute. And then we should be calling it quits here in a couple minutes. So we've got plenty of search stuff here now. If I want to look up our lorem ipsum blog, it's right there. If I just want to look up all blogs, let's see here. So we can do so we can do, well, this isn't going to work like I want it to, but our doc dot relation to, we'll do like query as well. But what this is going to do, so blog isn't my collection name, post is, so I can see all but one of my posts, it looks like. But all right, so we have a submit button, a search thing, a search input, and then an H1, it looks like, to, no, it's a label, but either way, to edit. Excuse me. So all of this was done with Tailwind or something, so I'm going to get rid of all that. But first, we'll do a section container here. Then we'll do our content container. And I won't do a grid for this because I think this is mostly going to get us all the way there. Though I don't know why search isn't being impacted by that. Let's go ahead and get rid of these class names. Input doesn't have a class name, so that's fine. And then we're going to use, well, we're going to have to use a class name here in a second, but we're in our component, we've got our search, so we can add it now. No, we're not in there. So we have our components, then we have at least I thought we had. So where is this component located? Here it is. So this doesn't even belong here, but I hesitate to move it. So we need a new style sheet, which we'll call index.module add, and then here we'll import classes from our index.module. And then we'll do in our label, I'll have to take a look at that here in a second. But again, confused why it didn't take any of the margin or padding that I added. But then for our button, we'll do a class name, and we'll do classes search button. And then I believe here I can do class name classes dot search label. And let's bring these over here. Okay. Bam. Bam. So our search label, we're going to have our padding left, get it equal to everything, and then our search button, we'll do we'll do a small padding. That should be good. And then we'll do font, or our color will be our variable light primary. Then we can do our background color, which will be, I want this to be the other way, dark primary, light primary. And then we can do a margin of something like that, see what happens. So then we'll want to do our border radius of, I don't know, 0.5 rem as well, solid dark primary, so it's highlighted. Sorry, 1 pixel solid. Can't type. Lost all abilities to type and to speak, apparently. All right, so now we'll want to do a border radius of, oh, this is what I was thinking about. We'll do half a rem there. So now, nice and rounded. Now our search label, it's an H1. I guess I should take a look at the label here, and this is the issue here. So what do I have for my, should be under our form. UI label. Okay. Label display, root display. Oh, this is some fancy coding. Usually hidden class name. Label. Let's see if I can just override whatever styles are in there, because I like it for the most part. I just need it to respect my margins. But I suppose the reason it doesn't, well, we have our, where is it? So we should have a, oh, it's in here. So this has my section container. So the problem then is that it's not getting the label, though it should be. It should be getting the whole form. But for some reason, oh, because the label is the H1. Okay, we're learning here. All right, so what we need to replace is actually whatever this container is here. So let's find that. So if we go back to our search, it's right here. So this is where I need to put that section container. That's where my H1 is. And so I can get rid of all this tailwind because it's nothing anyway. Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, and that, and this. All right, so now, instead of this content and section container, I can just leave the grid and then do our section container, then our content container. Okay, not quite. So this, yes, needs to be our section container, and then underneath it I need to add a content container. And we can do it right below this. And then this should get everything on the same page. Except for the search, because I still have that in its own, but it doesn't need that at all. All right, so that's looking pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Now let's see what happens. Just in, well, no, because I already have 10 being returned, but for some reason only 8 are showing up. I don't need any of this image stuff, so it should go straight to fragment. Okay. And then I want to add, oh, okay, so it started disappearing because I had that type check there and some things were failing the type check. No biggie. All right, so now I should be able to do limit 12. Everything's added in. I still don't want to do any pages. Just doesn't make sense to me. All right, so now we have the search and the submit button. So I want to add a little bit of space in between those though. Or sorry, the submit button and the top here. So I wonder if I can do this in just a section container, which I don't think adds any kind of padding. So we have it on either side of the grid. It does though. I wonder if content container is the way to go then. Well, that doesn't help either. All right, so what we'll do is, I believe in the grid we can do a class name. We can do classes search grid. And then let's go take a look in here and do our search grid and do just a margin top of not 4 rem, but maybe just 1. Should give us plenty of space in between. All right, cool. So now we have a nice search. I don't even think we need to have this search button, but I'll leave it just in case. And I don't love search as submit, so I'll just do search. Then I can hit blog, and there we go. And then I've got my pages here as well. So now that means we should put search in our nav, but that seems like too much work right now. So it seems like we did quite a bit of good work here. So let's double check. Search looks good. I don't need any... my brain just broke. I don't need any images here. If this was like a portfolio site where I just had like beautiful images or something, then yes, maybe. But I think in this case, it just doesn't make sense to have all of the images showing up here, especially since they're all the same right now. So it's essentially a default meta image at this point. So anyway, I think this looks pretty nice. It works perfectly. I can go to my About page fairly simply. So we just need an easier way to find the search. The search is good there. The site builds, which is important. And then, so we're just going to double check the build real quick, make sure that the search function works in the build, make sure the pages work in the build. And then after that, we will call it quits. I think on the next video, the next stream, I'm going to test out some community plugins. I'm really excited to try that. I've seen a few get posted up, so we'll see how those look. All right, so let's do npm start. And some of those community plugins I think are going to help me decide how to build a lexical feature. So we got lorem ipsum. That works perfectly. We can go back to the blog page. We've got our pagination all set up perfectly. Contact about industries doesn't click, but we can still go back to it, which is kind of a bummer. But we can always add more to that. We got contact, home, portfolio. So I would say that this project is essentially done. So our boilerplate can now just be added to our Git repository 2025-0305 finished boilerplate. So since it builds, that means it can deploy from GitHub or whatever Git provider. But either way, that feels like the end of an era. Of course, I'm going to pull up this project to test out those plugins that I was talking about. So I'm going to hang out on the Discord for a little bit and see what kind of projects I can find. I know there's been one that's like auth focused, so I might take a look at that because I'm a little interested in authentication, authorization, whatever. I'm pretty interested in that right now. And then there's the color pickers that I've seen, which I probably wouldn't use in like a production build, but it would be nice to see how it works. And the reason I wouldn't use it in production would be mostly I don't want my editors to have that kind of control. Some people are different though. They want to have the ability to change the color of an individual word, but I mean there's a highlight feature for that in Lexical, which is way easier. But that's about it for plugins that I've seen so far. So I'm gonna find maybe we can go over like 3 or 4 and see how that works. But I'll take a look through the Discord. If you know of any that you think would be worth me checking out, send them my way. You can drop them in the comments here, or if you're on the Discord, you can always mention me there as well. I'm pretty active on the Discord. I check it several times a day. I'm definitely in the video suggestions section on the Payload Discord. If you don't have the Payload Discord, I encourage you to find it on their website. I don't want to lose my tabs here, but if I go to Payload CMS, they have right here the Discord invite. So if you haven't joined that Discord, highly recommend. I actually just got some help from them today, so it's pretty responsive. So I think that's it. Doesn't seem like anybody's chatting right now, so we'll call it quits here. Hopefully this was helpful. Trying new things, learning new things, talking about things, and trying to figure out how to troubleshoot issues. So I had a good time. This project is a bear for sure. There's a lot of refactoring. And so I think what's next is I, of course, still have tutorials coming out Tuesdays and now Wednesdays for Tailwind. but I think I may start refactoring a client. I'm going to get their permission first, but I might start refactoring a client's website live and see what that does. I have a development database, but I've been running into some issues. It was one of my first Payload projects, so I'm running into some issues from just my inexperience. So I'll refactor that and see if the client's okay with it, and then from there work through these plugins. And then I've got a couple projects coming up that I'm interested in. Like I've been wanting to build a rhyming dictionary. So that'll give me like an idea of how to build like a full web app, with this being the CMS. And then also something like a personal library. I'm just thinking through like personal projects that I would want. I've got a lot of books, but it's hard for me to know what books I have, and I don't want to keep using Excel for that. Like, I'm a little more sophisticated than that now. Like, I can build a web app for my library, and then who knows, maybe it's something that people would want. I don't know. So I'm going to stop rambling now. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you learned something. If you're not subscribed, make sure you check that you are subscribed to my channel. I go live. I'm thinking after this week, it's probably going to be twice a week, Sundays and Wednesdays. So next time I go live, it'll be Sunday. Doing 3 days just seems like a lot right now between everything that's going on. So check to make sure you're subscribed, like this video, share it with people you think might enjoy some live coding and watching me struggle, though there wasn't a lot of struggle today. Either way, I enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging out, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.